This is the CAVS POSTCAST, your instant game reaction for the Cleveland Cavaliers. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Good evening, Cavs fans, and welcome to a fantastic edition of the CAVS POSTCAST, brought to you by Locked On Cavs and the Locked On Podcast Network, now your number one sports podcast network in America. I'm Tim Daniel. I have been podcasting about the NBA for 10 years now, and I want to thank you as we discuss an epic victory tonight for our beloved Cleveland Cavaliers over the rival Detroit Pistons in a barn burner, a down-to-the-wire game. It was a blast. It was a heck of a basketball game. So if you are just checking me out for the first time, welcome. I am so glad to have you here. Please be sure to hit that notification button here on YouTube and your podcast app of choice. You can not only get my show after each and every Cavs game, which I have a little bit of a break now until Sunday, but you'll get Danny Cunningham as well with all of his episodes on Locked On Cavs as well. On today's show, I'm going to be joined by my good friend, my former co-host at the Block the Shot to Stop, Kevin Lynch, and we're going to discuss this game in whole. We're going to talk about just how big of a win this is. We're going to get into the ins and outs of it. We're going to talk about Keon Ellis just being the absolute disruptor he is on defense, and Jaylen Tyson bringing this one home for the Cavaliers. All that and a whole lot more. And of course, I want to hear from you, our everydayers, as well. But let's go ahead and let's get started. Let's go ahead and bring Kevin in, shall we?
This is what you'll be talking about.
As I said, joining me, you can check him out twice a week on the Block the Shot to Stop, my former stomping grounds. Him and my good friend Skylar Webker holding it down over there, picking up and taking it to far higher levels than I could have. Kevin Lynch. And Kevin, I'm so happy to have you here. You're my first guest on the postcast. And what a better game to have my first guest than beating the Pistons.
Yeah, pretty good game, man. Feels like old times. Appreciate the invite.
Yeah, so let's get into this. And I'm just going to go ahead and overreact because, you know, I have a tendency to do that. Is this the biggest one of the year?
Ooh, that's a good question. I'm trying to think what would rival it. Honestly, I don't think back that far. I kind of think the Knicks last night or last week was a bigger win.
Okay,
because both teams were at full strength then, and you know there's been quite a bit of rivalry, bad blood around the Knicks, but this one's definitely up there.
Yeah, I think so too. So let's kind of go through it real quick. The Cavaliers get a 4-point win tonight with a final, was it 113-109, I think was the final. Did I have that right?
That's right.
Okay. And ins and outs, it was one of these games where Detroit kept it close. And I don't know if you agree with me on this, but I felt like the Cavs felt like Cleveland was still in control the whole game. Like, and even when Detroit would cut it down to 2-1 at times, I don't know why my camera's being so goofy, but the Cavs kind of still felt like they kind of had control. And I'm going to say this, and I know people are going to be like, Tim, you've talked about him a lot already on every episode. I feel like the way that James Harden dictates pace really played into the Cavaliers having control of this game.
Yeah. This game reminded me a lot of the Knicks game last week. As we said, it felt like the Cavs were in control from the outset, but then you look up at halftime and they're only up 6. Like if you if you just watch the game, didn't look at the scoreboard, you'd think they're at 15, right? And I felt the same tonight. And it's a kind of a sinking feeling when you're letting a really good team hang around when you're obviously outplaying them. And frankly, it made me a little bit nervous. Cade wasn't having that good a game in the first half. Like if he gets going, I don't know how I feel about the second half. But then the Cavs locked him down even more in the second half. And I thought really good. I mean, ultimate like team win tonight. We'll have a start of the game as you always do, but I don't think this wasn't a singular performance like we've seen from a Donovan Mitchell and Evan Mobley, Jarrett Allen. But this was very much a team win, both offensively and defensively.
Yeah, absolutely. That was the point I was going to bring up. I'm really glad you said that. It feels like everyone who touched the floor tonight made a contribution. And it's not like a kind of contribution either. Everyone at least had a moment. Robert Jones asks, is J.A. okay? We don't have any updates on Jarrett just yet. Hopefully. We're all hoping for the best there because we saw what happens when Jalen Duren gets free rebounds. Yeah. It's really scary. So, you know, we'll all be kind of keeping an eye on that. But, you know, kind of going back to what you said. So there's no Mitchell tonight. Dean Wade's out, which is like a scratch about an hour before tip.
Right.
And you're kind of like, okay, so who's going to guard Cade?
Right.
And Jaylen Tyson steps up, which we're going to talk a lot about Jaylen Tyson later in the show. And he does an excellent job on Cade. And Sam Merrill was really, really good tonight. Specifically, kind of keeping Duncan Robinson from getting in his grooves. I know Duncan Robinson's not the biggest threat in the world, but a 39% 3-point shooter who can kind of take over if he gets hot. Merrill did a great job on him. Duncan Robinson tried to get away with some illegal jersey grabbing at times against Merrill and couldn't. So that was big. You and I are people who I know from our past working together are very fond of one Dennis Schroder. So the fact that we get to root for him on our team now is very fun. Loved his minutes tonight. Absolutely loved his minutes tonight. International
Iverson. The trio of him, Keon Ellis, and Jaylon Tyson were defended Cade what felt like 90+% of the time, except on some switches and everything. And again, I believe this on the broadcast, it was Cade's lowest point output of the year, only 10 points tonight, did have like 12 assists, and he's a first team All NBA guy. He's going to affect the game some way. Right. But I thought, actually, on our show Sunday night, when we were previewing this game, I was like, my number one thing I'm looking for is guarding Cade, particularly Jaylen Tyson and Keon Ellis, and they couldn't have done a better job. I mean, Keon's given up a lot of size in that matchup, but he's just so quick and so athletic that he gave Cade all kinds of problems. Schroder, the exact same thing, and then Jaylen Tyson was just so physical with it. He was as physical as he could possibly be without fouling out, and that, to me, that was the key of the game. I don't know if you agree or not.
Totally agree. Absolutely agree. I got to do it because everyone knows that anyone who's covered me, because it's my time covering the Cavs. Evan Mobley again tonight. Really good.
Yes.
Not stellar, not incredible, not great. Really good. Going back to, I think the Knicks game, he was pretty good, but the Pistons game last Friday, the Nets game Sunday, and then today, he's played really good basketball these last 3 games. First quarter, I thought he was excellent tonight. And then you kind of saw, that battle for rebounds was there again. It's a little harder without Jarrett, obviously, because he's going against Dirk and Isaiah Stewart. But thought he held his own really well today. And, you can see like having him and Keon Ellis on the floor on the defensive side of the ball. It's everything we wanted him and DeAndre Hunter to be, and then some.
Yeah, absolutely. Evan was solid tonight. Very good, solid, however you want to say it. I thought he made a lot of plays. He had a huge 3 when it felt like the game might have been slipping from the Cavs there with about 2 minutes left. If he could start making 2 free throws in a row in the last couple of minutes of the game, that would be great for the Cavs, I think. But other than that, I think tonight highlighted the very good about Evan, how versatile he is, how skilled he is at certain things offensively, but also why he's best off playing with Jarrett Allen, another skilled big, because Jalen Duren, he's given up a lot of beef.
Yeah.
Same thing with Isaiah Stewart.
So 2 more things I want to make sure I mention before we go to first break. The drop step dunk in the first quarter around Duren was incredible.
Yeah.
Just like seeing him have that, like he's becoming so good at being like back to the basket, post moves, things like that. And I think that like that's not being talked about enough with what he's doing. And then the other thing I want to mention is that Thomas Bryant 3, where he's in the corner and Karis LeVert's closing in on him, and he draws the foul and knocks it down. Just an absolutely huge shot as well. So I thought there was, like I said, everyone who touched the floor tonight for the Cavs did something to contribute to the win. And that's what makes you feel really good at this point in the year, the last full month of the season, going into, the postseason. So.
Yeah, I thought Thomas Bryant gave them great minutes, and actually wish Kenny would have gone back to him in the fourth quarter when they're giving up a lot of offensive rebounds and everything. I mean, he had 9 points, 5 rebounds in only 16 minutes. And I mean, overall this season, I think he's been found money for the Cavs, to be the last guy signed. And I think he has excelled in the third big man role. And, we all know Kenny likes to go to one big lineups a lot of times anyway. And that's only going to leave so many minutes. But I thought Thomas was great tonight and just kind of continued his consistent play through the year. I mean, he's a lot better player than I thought he was, honestly, just watching him from afar and appreciate him a lot more in the Cavs.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, we're going to get to all that and more. But first, Kevin, we got to talk about Keon Ellis. We've mentioned his name already a couple of times, but man, this guy deserves a whole segment. We're going to talk about just how big of an impact he had in the game tonight, right after this. Workplace chaos, deadline stacking up, inbox overflowing, and the one position you have to fill still sitting open. When the pressure's on and you need the right hire, this is a job for Sponsored Jobs. Indeed Sponsored Jobs helps you reach the people who can actually fit what you're looking for: skills, experience, location. So you're not just hoping the right candidate stumbles across your post. And here's a stat that says it all. In the minute I've been talking to you, companies like yours have made 27 hires on Indeed, according to an Indeed data worldwide. So if you're hiring, spend less time searching and more time interviewing candidates who check all your boxes with Indeed Sponsored Jobs. And listeners of this show will get a $75 sponsored job credit to help get your job the premium status it deserves at Indeed.com/podcast. Just go to Indeed.com/podcast right now and support our show by saying you heard about Indeed on this podcast. Indeed.com/podcast. Terms and conditions apply. Need to hire? This is a job for Indeed Sponsored Jobs. This episode of the podcast is also brought to you by our friends over at BetterHelp. March is a time to celebrate women, especially around International Women's Day, and to recognize just how much they carry at work, in relationships, in families, and all the unseen roles they step into every single day. It's easy to celebrate that strength, but just as important to make space for their emotional well-being, and honestly, that goes for all of us. I have to go ahead and make a really quick first to my wife. We have had it's a little bit a rough year so far, but we're getting through it and we're making it work. And she carries without always saying so. And it makes me think how many of us are doing the same thing. The roles we play, the expectations we carry, the pressure we don't always talk about. Therapy can help with all that, creating balance, setting healthy boundaries, and supporting your overall well-being. With over 30,000 licensed therapists and more than 6 million people served worldwide, BetterHelp is the world's largest online therapy platform. And it works. Fill out a short questionnaire, get matched with a licensed therapist, and if it's not the right fit, switch at any time. Your emotional well-being matters. Find support and feel lighter in therapy. Sign up and get 10% off at betterhelp.com/lockedonnba. That's betterhelp.com/lockedonnba. If you never miss an episode, it's time to make it official. Join the Locked On Everydayer Club and get ad-free audio, access to our members-only Discord, and more, all built for our most loyal fans. Click here to learn more on the team's community at lockedon.com/everydayersclub. Like I said, we have Kevin Lynch with us here from the Block the Shot to Stop. After you check us out, me and Danny, of course, make sure you check Kevin and Skylar out over there as well. And Kevin, we've already said it a million times. Let's just go ahead and get to our X Factor.
It's time to reveal who made the biggest under-the-radar impact with today's X Factor.
Kevin, Keon Ellis has become, is a godsend overstating it to what the Cavaliers have really needed? Because he's been absolutely tremendous. And tonight, in a game he fouled out, mind you, he was, once again, terrific. You mentioned the fact that Schroder, Ellis, and Tyson were kind of all taking turns guarding Cade Cunningham. He made things very difficult for Cade Cunningham. He made things very difficult for basically everyone not named Tobias Harris, because Tobias Harris had like a flashback to 2019 there in the third quarter. But you can kind of live with Tobias Harris beating you instead of Cade or Duran in those kind of games. But for what he's bringing this team right now, just his disruptions, just his ability to fill passing lanes. I think a comparison I've kind of come up with, and I'm kind of curious your thoughts on this. It's like, I know we kind of always look back to the title team, and that's just rational to do. He's like a better offensive Iman Shumpert almost for this team.
I hadn't really thought of that comparison. I actually hadn't thought of my comparison to Keon Ellis. Somebody asked me, and it's very weird to compare someone to someone younger than them, but I think he's kind of like a Stefan Castle, just without the opportunity quite yet from the Spurs. I also just wanted to say, I think you could have easily chosen Craig Porter Jr. for this segment. I thought he was a game changer tonight, so just want to shout out Craig. But like, back to Keon, he does give the Cavs like a disruptor defensively from the perimeter that they have not had in a very long time. I can't remember someone that is as capable of it as he is. He is very much you have to watch a game and not the box score guy. Now, he'll put up some stats and everything. And I think he is a very good on the ball defender. And you saw that tonight against Cade. I think he's an elite off the ball defender. That's where he gets a lot of his stocks, his steals and blocks, and just creates havoc all over the court. We highlighted on a clip. There was this clip that within 16 seconds, he guarded or contested the shot on all 5 guys on the floor. He's like that. He's that athletic, that light on his feet, and has that high of a basketball IQ and ability to anticipate what's happening next on the basketball floor. I think this guy is an incredible player for the Cavs, and I think there's way more in there than we've seen. If he gets increased opportunity, not only with minutes, but to maybe expand his game offensively, I think there's more there. But like in the role that the Cavs need him in right now, he's a star in his role. That's the best. That's what they always say about role players in the NBA: be a star in your role. And Keon Ellis is absolutely a star in his role.
He is, and I think the thing that really kind of jumps out the most is what you knew about how good he was defensively when he came over. He's shooting 50% from the floor as a Cavalier.
Mm-hmm.
So obviously small sample size. It hasn't played a whole lot of games for the team, but he's giving them some sort of punch there. And I know that the Knicks game hit a couple leak outs where we learned he couldn't play wide receiver.
Right.
Today he played wide receiver. He had one from Harden that he really kind of just took advantage of and made a play on, and was 3 of 3 from the line. I know he missed all his 3-point shots. A really solid 3-point shooter in general. But just kind of gave the Cavs just these huge minutes in a much needed game. And the fact that he just loves being a Cavalier, you can just tell. And you hear about it in the interviews all the time where he's like, I came to a team that's contending. And I get it. He left Sacramento. I'm sure that just brings up everyone's mood when you're a professional basketball player. But the fact that he came to this team and he has a chance to really matter so much for them has been really, really showing very well. And you mentioned, I'd be remiss if we didn't bring up Craig Porter Jr. I know the shot has not been beautiful of late by any means, but everything else he's bringing them tonight. So tonight, 7 points, 8 rebounds, 3 assists, a huge dunk that he had that they really needed those 2 points in that circumstance. And just
on beef stew. Yeah.
Especially, got beef stew on a poster.
Yeah.
So had to make sure we give him some love there as well. So thank you for bringing that up. I appreciate it.
Yeah. Keon, you said he's a pretty good 3-point shooter. I actually think he's better than that. He was over 40% in his first 3 years in the league, and his stats were way down this year. But frankly, Sacramento is just chaos, and I actually wouldn't hold that against him with everything that's going on there. I think you see he has a really good jump shot. He's one of these guys I talked about on our show, like. It's crazy when someone stands out athletically in the NBA. Just like the way he moves, how quick he is, how quick his first step is, how quick he gets off his feet for rebounds and things like that. Like he looks different. He looks like the best player on a high school team sometimes, or the most athletic player on the high school team, I should say. He is just absolutely incredible athlete. I hope the Cavs can lock him up for a long time. I think he can blossom into like if not a 6th man of the year candidate, or a very solid 5th starter or something like that. Something in that range. I think that's his ceiling right now, and his ceiling could raise. And so he is just doing between him, Schroder, Tyson, Naquan Tomlin when he gets minutes. Kenny's gone away from him lately. They just give the Cavs. There's a lot of things the Cavs don't do as well as they did last year, but what you do better is perimeter defense, getting into other guys' faces, just being disruptive on the defensive end and having guys that are capable and willing to do that, 94 feet, 48 minutes a game. And Keon's right at the top of the list of the guys that are so good at that on this Cavs team now.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, Kev, it's a night where everyone gave something. It's a night where it's really hard to pick one guy who had their night, but it's pretty obvious to say tonight was Jaylen Tyson's night.
Yeah.
College basketball is nonstop. Big games, tight spreads, momentum swings every single night. From early tip-offs to late West Coast shootouts, there's always action on the board. And now FanDuel is giving you a way to turn that energy into even bigger potential wins with a college basketball parlay profit boost. You can build any college hoop parlays you want. Rivalry games, ranked matchups, you name it. You can mix spreads, totals, and player props to match how you see the state playing out. Then you can apply the profit boost and instantly bump up the potential payout. Go safe. Go bold, right with the team you've been following all season. It's your parlay, your style, now with more upside behind it. Head to FanDuel.com to get started. That's FanDuel.com. FanDuel, play your game. Want to go ahead and give a shout out to our everydayers here on Locked On Cavs and the Locked On Cavs postcast. Thank you so much for spending some time with us tonight. It's been a really fun to be able to talk about this game with you all tonight. And of course, please be sure to hit that notification button here on YouTube or on your podcast app of choice. You can only get me after every Cavs game, but get every episode Danny Cunningham brings you with Locked On Cavs as well. And after that, go check out the Block the Shot to Stop with Kevin and Skyler, my old stomping grounds. It's a really good Cavs podcast. They do excellent work over there, and their clips are Chef's kiss. So, all right, guys. Jaylen Tyson, it was just his night.
This is the Locked On Player of the Game.
Let's just talk about it. So the jump he has made. Now, I know most improved player doesn't normally go to second-year guys, and normally it shouldn't. I think, you're supposed to make a jump from year 1 to year 2. It's kind of how it goes.
Yeah.
But what Tyson has brought to the Cavaliers in general all year has been humongous. But tonight was a night they absolutely needed it. And look, his shot had been bad for, well, I shouldn't say bad. He had struggled for a little while to find his shot. Tonight he's 5 of 12 from 3, just about 42%. Doesn't hit his free throws, but does everything else tonight. 22 points, 3 rebounds, 4 assists, 2 block shots. He was a man on a mission tonight. And where they didn't have Donovan Mitchell, where James Harden doesn't have his shot, where Jarrett Allen leaves early with an injury, and they have to kind of play their shorter rotation, Jaylen Tyson full on took over that game and said, I got you all.
Yeah, when you said took over the game, he was so consistent throughout the game. This is a very weird thing that I started looking at, honestly, because of Evan Mobley, because his performance can vary quarter to quarter.
Mm-hmm.
I always look at, like, does someone like make an impact every quarter? Do they score every quarter? Do they get rebounds, assists, all these things? He has stats in his column for all 4 of the quarters tonight. He contributed consistently. He, like, the 5 threes he hit, I thought were huge. Particularly, he had 12 points in the first half that kind of helped him get to that lead. And then he might have I think he probably guarded Cade the most of anybody and contributed to that, was a huge contributor to that struggle of a night that Cade had that we talked about. And again, more than the stats and everything, just the attitude and the effort and just the determination that this guy brings. Like, I really think we talked about a lot on our show last year, that it just seemed like that was the missing thing from the Cavs. Like back in when the Pacers series, when the Pacers punked them with Aaron Nesmith, Andrew Nebhart, just by getting in their face and frustrating the Cavs went out and got some of those guys. They developed one with Jaylen Tyson, and then the other guys that we've highlighted all came in. And so I think Jaylen's stats this year have been incredible. The jump, the scoring, the 3-point shooting, especially how much he contributes on the how good a rebounder he is for his size. But I actually think kind of those intangible things he brings is maybe the biggest contribution he's made.
Yeah, I completely agree. And my ring light went out. So that's probably the sign that we probably should wrap this up because we're way over time. But Kevin, I'm so happy you got to come hang out with me tonight, man. I've missed working with you. So I'm really glad you got to join me. Before we get out of here, for those who don't know about BSS, please give a shout out to tell people where they can find your guys' show and make sure that people are following along with to add to their Cavs podcast routine.
Yeah, it's the 6 best words in Cleveland Cavaliers history: the block, the shot, and the stop. You search that anywhere you get your podcasts, YouTube, anywhere you're on socials. We're on them all. We're pretty easy to find if you know the name of our show. So love for Cavs fans to check us out, and just like Tim, interact, comment on the videos. We put out a clip at least every other day, usually with highlights in it, and so. We'll love to hear from any Cavs fans. It's hopefully going to be an exciting end of the year here.
Yeah, absolutely. So Danny will be on here throughout the week, obviously, as usual. I am off until Sunday. So I am off till the Celtics game on Sunday afternoon. I love those Sunday 1:00 tips, man. I'm becoming a big fan.
Yeah.
It's just so much more fun. So go ahead.
Does it feel like football to you or something?
Well, I'm not really a big football guy in the first place. So this is it's perfect for me. So, yeah, Sunday against the Celtics. Will Jason Tatum play in that game is now becoming a conversation I'm genuinely curious about. Will Donovan Mitchell play for the Cavs? Will Jarrett Allen is going to be a thing we're going to be figuring out throughout the week as well. But thank you all so much for hanging out with us tonight. What an awesome win and a really exciting time to be a Cavs fan. I'll be back on Sunday. Danny will be here throughout the week as always. Go Cavs, and we will talk to you all soon. Go listen to the Block the Shot to Stop.